I keep thinking about the movie Truman Show. Maybe you remember it. I mean, it was this show about a guy who wakes up every day, kisses his wife goodbye, goes to work, and leads a perfectly normal, happy life. Nice suburban area, good job, everything fine. And at some point he begins to realize something's off, something's odd. And of course, as the movie progresses, we find out that his entire life is basically one big media event. His life is a reality television show. Everybody in his life is an actor. The suburban island on which he lives is a decor. And his entire life is directed by a team of media producers. Now, if you remember, the movie ends with him deciding to escape. And it's actually possible. He, in the end, does escape. And increasingly, now we're moving well into the 21st century, I'm fascinated by the question, what would happen if he couldn't escape, and not just that, if he actually decided to stay? And I'm increasingly convinced that that's the way we live our lives today, all of us. We all live inside our very own Truman Show. Our lives are laid out in front of us, either by our own doing, our Facebook profiles, MySpace profiles, YouTube channels, our podcasts, our blogs, but also involuntarily, our digital shadow, the trace we leave behind when we go online, when we play games, when we shop, when we enter a shopping mall. Everything gets recorded and stored. There's nothing private about our everyday life anymore. We live our lives not with media, as was always the assumption, and then at some point we could switch those media off and thus, like Truman, escape. Today we live in media. There is no escape. There is no switching off. And I'm fascinated by answering the question, or trying to answer the question, so what does that do to us? I don't believe that media do anything to us. I think we live our lives differently inside of the media. So my work focuses on building a bridge, theoretically, but also practically, between using media, making media, and just trying to make sense of your everyday life. How do you start and end relationships? Do you do that on Facebook? Do you do that somewhere else? How do you start or build a career? Especially because we are here in a media and telecommunications department inside the media. So my courses and my research focus on two major things. On a kind of a practical level, what does it mean to work in the media? How do you survive? How do you make media professionally, find ways to be creatively free and autonomous, make the art you want to make, whether as a journalist, an ad creative, or a filmmaker, for example. And on a more theoretical level, what does it mean that our lives today take place inside of media? Is that ultimately an empowering issue? Can we become better world citizens that way, shape the reality we live in, like we shape the reality in our media? Or does it make us perfect slaves of media devices, technologies, news, information, and entertainment? That's the question that I want to answer, and that's the stuff that I teach.